Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode in the Farleigh Park build series. There's been quite a lot of changes since the last video, been a few streams, I've been doing a lot of work off camera, so let's get straight into all the updates. So before we get into the updates, I just need to mention one thing. I have not built an enormous dark ride round at the back of the park. This giant box is covering up Outpost 5, which is now so close to being done that I want to keep the rest of it a secret, unlike the gardens, Buccaneer Bay or Storm Valley, where I'm fine showing everybody the build process all the way up until the end. The final parts of Outpost 5 I'm really happy with how it's all coming together, and so I want to keep it a secret. So then when I do like the area showcase video once it's finished, it's like a bit more of a surprise of what I've been doing there. But yeah, so with that out of the way, let's get straight onto the updates. And just before we head over to the main new part of this video, Storm Valley, the Runaway Train has had a layout extension. So there's a helix here, and there is also a helix down here, which has helped extend the ride time slightly, which I think is always a positive. But also, it's given me the chance to do a cool new water effect down here. Instead of all the riders getting splashed with water, I've done this instead. So yeah, I think that's a much more of a fun effect, and of course it doesn't splash all the riders. And of course with Storm Valley I've just been doing more of the foliage works kind of around here. It was very important around here that actually I kept this sight line so you could see the track up there over the toilets. So that kind of influenced what I did with this section, and I've also been doing some work around here. Right, moving on to Buccaneer Bay. It's mostly just been continuing the rock work and the foliage and the theming around the area. So I've gone and put in a castle. This was always the plan, to have the coaster fly over the top of the castle, which you should hopefully be able to see in a moment. But yeah, so it's quite a basic build. Of course there's no detail around at the back, doesn't need it. But I've got like some cannons in the towers and some seaweed and all sorts of stuff on top. I think the ride's coming now. There it is. So yeah, and I've also reprofiled the coast, like the actual track going into this inversion slightly, so it's not as sharp as it used to be. And yeah, just been kind of slowly continuing all the rock work and the planting ground. And yeah, so Buccaneer Bay as well as Storm Valley is getting quite close to completion now. Just got a couple of bits of buildings to do, and this section here. And for Storm Valley, it's just finishing up the foliage and finishing up the tunnels that are part of the area. Moving on to Main Street, there's a few new buildings. We have a June Delights here and a Professor Verst, and I've detailed them to their respective World's Fair pack sets. And I've also done a higher sushi shop over here, again using the World's Fair parts for the associated country for that one. Anyway, the gardens had a few updates. Can't remember if this was in the last one, but I've gone through and sorted out the Farleigh wheel, so the sign and the queue line and everything. In the comments please leave name suggestions for these two flat rides, because I can't really finish off the area until I've got these two rides named. But yeah, apart from that, this is actually the only part of the gardens left to do, because on stream the other day we sorted out this, and this is Octospin, which has quite an interesting theming around the entrance. But I mean, it's my first time trying to do something with basic shapes, and it's not too bad. I kind of like the sign. But yeah, so that's Octospin, and that's there. Right, moving on, the spooky area has mainly seen changes. With the dark ride, I'm now planning out more of like the scenes and stuff, although my sign here has vanished. And yes, I'm kind of planning out what the actual ride is going to do essentially. And then if we move down to the actual area, we can go in the station for the wing coaster, which has had quite a lot of change since the last one. So it's got a double wall, so on the outside it has this crypt, and on the inside it's more of this wood. We have the higher fence here, so you can't just walk up the exit and hop over. I've got all the fake air gates, and of course the fake stairs over the top, although I may need to put in some sort of netting at the top here. And yeah, actually at night is when this is pretty cool. A nice purple glow over the rest of the track. Anyway, back to daytime. So yeah, we've also got the operator's cabin up there. I just need to finish off the wall over on this side so makes it look slightly odd at the moment. And yeah, this has been kind of tinkering a bit with some of the theming around. In this section we have our on-ride camera just here. We've got this near miss, this kind of like dead tree thing, and also this is probably my favourite near miss, is this crypt thing. Anyway, let's keep moving around this way. So the adventure area, and this is where you'll find a lot of change because we have an entire new roller coaster. This is the spinning coaster. The plan was really to have a spinning coaster that ran on the back here, so I've gone ahead and built it. And yes, so let's run through the layout with this car. So you come up the lift hill, of course, for this type of spinning coaster, pretty fast. And the first drop, a bit like Spinball Whizzer, kind of a small spiral down, and up into the main drop under the waterfall, up into the first block section, and there's this big curve out here, and you enter the cave systems for the first time. And you come out round this way, out the caves into the second block section, and round into another turn on the inside, this time with some fountains. Then you go back into the cave, and you emerge after another block break just over here. The less bend into the second lift hill, again Dragon's Fury inspired. And then we come round here, and it has this section. And then it goes into a little bit of a dip, kind of an airtime hill, twisting round up into the final block break before it then goes into a little bunny hop into the actual brake run. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the layout. My favourite part is this section around here, which I've gone ahead and done all the theming. Since this is actually outside of the adventure area, I thought I'd just kind of do more rocks and foliage with a couple of hints of adventure. And yeah, on the inside obviously there's a lot of adventure theming. And so he's got this nice big rock facade at the back here, which I'm quite happy with. And this ride also needs a name, so please comment that as well. But because it's kind of like some sort of plane things, I've put a big plane theming piece in the side here, so you'll be able to see that when you're queuing up. And there's also a few like trucks and jeeps and stuff around the area. I've been working on more of the queue line for the dive coaster, so this area especially, we have this cool kind of central theming piece. And unlike this section, which would be more open on the busier days, so there's nothing massive there, because this section would likely be open all the time, I've put in a nice large theming piece, actually to put in a pass through there, so I'll get that sorted before the next video. But yes, the actual station building is also now done on all sides, and if we go inside through the entrance here, you'll see we have kind of like a temple. Still not quite finished. I still wanted to do a few more details on the walls and make the roof look a bit more interesting. But you can see we have our row numbers, and then we have like these torches here for some light. On the other side you've got the operator's booth over here, as well as some storage and some more lighting in terms of pillars and stuff. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how this station has started to turn out. I still want to do a bunch of cool things with the roof. But yes, so that's temple drop. There's also been slight modification to the layout. Coming around here, we have the maintenance bay that I've made some changes to. So I've saved some pieces by using a different type of shutter. And also I've made the transfer track slightly bigger to ensure that it'll be able to move a train across without this getting in the way. So, what else have we got? Oh yes, new flat ride over here. We have ourselves the Rising Raptor, which I've added in this nice little space here. With a bit of a small queue line, but probably don't need anything more than that. Get some pretty good views of the dive coaster though. And yes, doing a little bit of work on the entrances, which is basically this. And the one over here also has the addition of like the rest of the snake's body there. I've also added this like a second lake seating point. You get great views of the dive coaster and the wing coaster from up here. And that's kind of going to be similar to this one over here, that's right near Buccaneer's Bay. And finally we have the city area. Now, even in the last video all we had was this facade. Now I have the information booth, which is slightly inspired from, where is it? This building over here in Main Street that I did. So it's a similar vibe, but I've changed up the colours slightly. We also have this building here on the right, which doesn't serve any purpose. It's just a facade. We also have this coffee shop that I'm quite a big fan of. With all the bricks and stuff, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And on the other side we have this, which is going to be a restaurant. You can kind of see the entrance to it just there. So yeah, and the area itself I've been putting in like benches and some couple of seating areas and some trees and stuff and lights. And yeah, quite happy with how it's all turning out. And of course the Giga, I've put in the final brake run. There is a queue line for the Giga. It's huge. It heads up around this way, all the way down here, and then just into a very large cattle pen. If we're going out here for a little bit and then back inside, more cattle pen, and then up into the station. This building here is just kind of like a roof section for the building, because it's going to be very large. You've got this kind of wall here that forms the adventure facade, and actually the plan is to have a few rocks on the back of this side here, so that, because it is visible from down in the adventure area, so that will just kind of help with the immersion, having a few rocks up there. But yeah, so it then kind of extends to include all of this, the station for the Giga, the queue line for this ride, all the way around to the back here. So essentially it's all going to be like one giant building, which will then kind of end around here. So yeah, so I made a start on that, but I need to just kind of continue the facade all the way around first. But yeah, so that is pretty much all of the updates. That's apart from Outpost 5. I'm not quite sure if this was in the last video, but I've also done the train stations. We just have tickets, escalators down, and more tickets around there. So yeah, there's a nice public transport links to the park, as well as I've added in the first of 2 staff car parks around here, and also the plan is to have a second one around here, and around here I've just got a roundabout with the park name. So yeah, that is pretty much all the updates from the park. Currently sits just under 60,000 pieces. And so yeah, hopefully in the next update I will have a finished area, because we have 4 that are getting close to that point now. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to watch more of the build series and this, then do subscribe, and you'll also get notified when I go live in this park usually, and you'll be able to watch the build process live. But yeah, apart from that, let's go for a ride on the spinning coaster. Thank you very much for watching, enjoy the ride.